Back here in Warhammer Rogue Trader on the upper decks, just getting started in this game, really, with my character here, whose name I've forgotten. I don't know anything about them. How do I, like, bring up a page showing...
Fate and fortune favor the bold.
I'm just trying to bring up some information about my character. See? Hey, there we go. Darius, that's me. I think I was an operative of some sort. Wow, this looks really complicated. All of this looks really complicated. Okay. I don't know much of anything about Warhammer, but the main thing that I know about it is I think it's complicated. Tarantula sentry gun constructed with the blessing of the Adeptus Mechanicus, using a standard template construct. It disappeared again in the manufactorums of Kiava Gamma. So I think we're on our way. Rogue trader Theodora von Valentius desires to personally meet with the person recently brought aboard her flagship. A storm is brewing over the dynasty, so the Lord Captain has something important to share with her heir, if she ever gets the chance. Conrad Voitvir has decided to remain at the scene of the servitor incident to personally investigate the cause. Theodora von Valentius is at the orrery. She must not be kept waiting. By Right of Blood is the name of the quest that we are working on. But can't I look around some more? Where do I go to find the person that I am to seek? Are they this way? Your Lordship, do not worry. All threats have been eliminated. It is absolutely safe here. Says the deck enforcers. Okay, so I can't go through that door, so I guess that means I have to go this way. A Lehman Russ battle tank, reclaimed and restored by the grace of the God Emperor, the first to breach. Okay, we gotta figure out how to turn on a log. The first to breach the capital walls during the pacification of Vortes Chiaton. Can I make this bigger somehow? Can we scale it out in any way? We can scroll up and down. Can I make it drag, click and drag in any way? It does not appear that I can make the log any bigger. Events, dialogue, combat. Okay, let's leave it on dialogue for now. Because the tooltips disappear so quickly that I can't even see them. A violet alloy, which upon closer examination turns out to be a handcrafted object. Symbols carved with a primitive tool are visible on the surface. It looks like we're in some sort of museum of ancient artifacts. A black shard resembling obsidian. If you look closely, you can discern a strange, barely perceptible glow inside the artifact. All these exhibits here in this museum. An old tank, old sort of artillery gun, some minerals and stuff over here on the left. A massive golden amalgam interspersed with sparkling particles.
Is there money to be made?
This crew member is hard at work, bowing his head in fear and avoiding even looking at you. All the threats have been eliminated. It's absolutely safe here.
I always keep my options open.
Okay. I don't like my character's voice already. This is a strange object that resembles sea coral. The porous surface is pitted, a sign that it has been underwater. And last, but not least, a gray-green crystal with white veins. A low hum can be heard coming from the artifact. And it looks like there's a control panel here, but we can't do anything with it.
Keep your wits about you.
Through the door, then. And into some sort of very large chamber. Oh, once again, we're overlooking the assembly down below. I'm not sure if I'm on a ship or on a planet. I feel like I might be on a ship. A void ship? I think somebody mentioned a void ship. People are all working on these things. Weirdly, there's a drawbridge leading to the next area. We're crossing a drawbridge inside this void ship. There's a tech priest here. A tech litany for machine placidity is required. Vox casting to initiate the consecration of unguents and the preparation of technomats, says the tech priest. Okay. May his will strengthen my heart. May my humble deeds be for the benefit of humanity, says the crew officer.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Well, I guess I will continue on to the Lord Captain. Ah, we've run out of voice acting already. There's someone named Edelthrad here talking to the Lady Theodora. That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora, says the man dressed in a peculiar garb, his voice tight with tension. His face, half of which is covered by sin skin, is twisted in a grimace of displeasure and disbelief. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide, practically an admission of heresy. The tall, gray-haired woman pins him with her gaze, her cybernetic eye flashing crimson. The Lady Theodora, I presume. Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation no worse than my seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Edelthrad? I will stand and listen in silence. While you are considering your answer, Edelthrad, I wish to speak with someone else. Perhaps I shall hear something more interesting than incoherent mumbling. Theodora nods in your direction. Approach. What is this? Edelthrad turns to you and regards you with indignation. Is this someone from your retinue, Theodora? Do you permit your people to interrupt your conversations in such a fashion? I give that permission to those with something of substance to say. Let us see if it was worth it. Theodora tilts her head. Her lips stretch into a cold smile. This is Darius, the second candidate for the title of my successor. The rogue trader regards you with a look that is imperious, predatory, and oppressive. Step forward, Darius. Oh, I have a passive skill test. Your character's skills reflect their knowledge and capabilities. Some dialogues automatically initiate passive skill tests. If such a test succeeds, new information will be revealed or a hidden dialogue option will unlock. If your character is traveling with allies, the party member with the highest score in the applicable skill is selected for each given passive skill test. So I have succeeded on a lore check. The spirits... Wait. Okay, so this is referring to the text that I have not read yet. Consider this hypothetical situation, says Lady Theodora. Ion 6, a new world on the fringes of the Coronis Expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say. But attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure? Those spirits could well be the natives' name for dangerous aliens. I would first verify if that is indeed the case and if the population of Ion 6 engages in Xeno worship. Or there are ways to confirm whether what is happening on Ion 6 is witchcraft or not. It might cost several psychers to do it, but it will give us the answer. Or, if my particular life experiences are any indication, some of the natives would eagerly betray their chieftains in exchange for a quiet life serving on board my ship. I would then leave dealing with Ion 6 to those who know it best. Or, these reports of spirits certainly sound like evidence of heresy. However, I would put my interests first. No matter what means I would have to use, the riches of Ion 6 would be mine. Or, Ion 6 must be purged. For the good of the Imperium, I shall exterminate the heretical beliefs and otherworldly powers that rule the native apostates. Or, I don't know? I genuinely don't know is the real answer from this player. I have no idea what to say here. Do we embrace witchcraft or not? I think I'll just go with the first choice. Those spirits could well be the native names for dangerous aliens. I would first verify if that is indeed the case and if the population of Ion 6 engages in Xeno worship. Theodora arches an eyebrow. Reasonable and prudent. However, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and fruitless endeavor. Edelthrad scoffs. Apart from Xenos, an untrodden planet might be teeming with myriad horrors that are far more dangerous and difficult to eradicate. I suspect that you, Darius, are simply unaware of their existence. Xenos, of course, being a term used within the Imperium to refer to aliens. An untrodden... Alright, here are my choices to respond. I gave a straight answer to a simple question. We're both servants of the God Emperor and Lady Theodora. Does it become anyone of our status to engage in petty feuds? I find his tone most disagreeable. You will kindly... Shut your mouth, Edelthrad, before I decide to shut it for you. Shut your mouth. My crime lord background comes into play suddenly. Shut your mouth, Edelthrad, before I decide to shut it for you. You feel the temperature in the room drop. Edelthrad gives you a baleful look, his eyes narrowed. I invite you to try, you miserable vermin. I am intrigued to see how your pathetic life will... Edelthrad, Theodora's tone renders him silent. I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck, instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview. I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forget the time. Edelthrad bows ceremoniously and takes his leave without sparing you another look. Bye, Edelthrad. Theodora's gaze follows him as he leaves. Then she turns to you. So, Darius, why are you here? Well, Was it not you who sent for me? Theodora scoffs. You have ceded the opening that was offered to you in a woeful display of meekness. Admittedly, this tendency is equally strong in all who toil in the Emperor's service. Immutable hierarchy, absolute obedience, lickspittery, compulsion to please. I value none of these things. From the moment my envoys came for you, the terms of your existence changed. My name is Theodora von Valentius Massimo Afscaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity, and my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic, the warrant of trade kept aboard this very vessel. Sacred relic document that affirms the preeminent rights of a rogue trader throughout the galaxy. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness beyond the Imperium and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign and bode death and ruin to us all. Oh, I see. So we are against witchcraftery, I think. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored world. The explored void, I mean. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find thereon, resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you, Darius, are one of those with the von Valentius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes. One of? Does this mean that there are other heirs? Naturally. Some have yet to arrive on board, but you have had the pleasure of meeting one of them. Edelthrad may be somewhat disconcerted by the scale of the responsibilities that may potentially fall upon his shoulders. However, I have a good feeling about him as a candidate. Oh, so Edelthrad was my opponent. Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful, if not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Theodora sighs and looks away pensively for a brief moment. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Conrad Voiter served me for many years before he made his mistake. Did I hear you correctly? The Master of Whispers is related to you? His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name von Valentius, even if he avoids using it publicly, and as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. Voigtvir's performance in his current role is satisfactory, or it used to be at least. If you're satisfied with Edelthrad, then what sense is there in having this conversation? Why are you wasting your time on me? Although it sounds like you're not satisfied with him. Theodora shakes her head. Impatience. I am rather fond of impatient people. They are not as quick to resign themselves to circumstances, and more eager to show initiative. Even if I do choose Edelthrad as my successor, I will still require loyal advisors. The skills and knowledge you acquired in your former life may prove invaluable here in the Coronis Expanse. One could not in good faith describe your background as one of exemplary service to the Imperium. However, Theodora permits herself a sly smile. I am intrigued by you and your past. To have survived and prospered between the letters of the law is a rare achievement among those in our circle. You are skilled in the art of taking risks and cutting corners. Trust me when I say that you will have sufficient opportunity to apply this talent for the good of the house. Moreover, Theodora inclines her head slightly, your remarkable mental abilities were noted in your profile. If you can find a way to exhibit them in the service of the Von Valencius dynasty, well, so much the better. Thank you for clarifying. May I ask my questions now? The vox affixed to Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life, but all you can hear is an unintelligible noise. Theodora winces, shuts off the transmission, and gives you an imperious nod. I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of warp, and my presence is required on the bridge. I have some time for the navigator, the noble mutant, the sanctioned noble mutant whose genes allow them to safely guide a warp-capable void ship through the warp, a la Dune. Oh, okay, I think what she's saying is she has time to answer questions. But the sentence is so weirdly written. It sounds like she immediately wants to leave. It sounds like her presence is required on the bridge. But what she's saying is she has some time before her presence is required on the bridge. Warping is an alternate dimension of pure energy and madness existing as a mirror to real space, also known as the immaterium, the imperium, the ether, the sea of souls, or warp space. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just a simple crime lord, so what is a navigator and translation? What are these things you're speaking of? Theodora shakes her head. Sometimes I forget that people without direct access to a ship's bridge may not know the first thing about how a void ship travels between the stars. Vessels such as this one are capable of leaving real space and traversing into the warp, an otherworldly dimension of cruel and unthinkable forces. By entering it under the protection of the Geller field, we shorten the route to our destination, crossing distances that would require hundreds of years in a matter of weeks instead, sometimes in days or even hours. That is how humanity spread across the galaxy. That is how we were able to build the Imperium, which spans millions of stars. So, just so you know, there was an incident below on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew. Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance. Or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Geller field. Or perhaps there is something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all. The gray-haired officer, Abelard, gives the rogue trader a look of cautious disapproval. Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by the uneducated riffraff. Enough, Abelard. Such heresy amuses me. Idira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. She turns back to you. This ship is thousands of years old. It has enough hidden nooks, malfunctioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folks speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live. Malfunctioning cogitators, of course. The cogitator is any type of digital computer in the Imperium of Man. Cogitator instead of computer. That's pretty funny. So, Lady Theodora, where is your ship headed exactly? The Rykad system, the domain of rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers and rivals. Besides me, 2 other rogue traders exist in the Coronis Expanse, and each of them possess resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valencius in surpassing both of them in affluence and splendor. The Coronis Expanse, a scattered, poorly explored region of the frontier of the Imperium, full of fearsome Xenos, treasure, heathen worlds, and the echoes of ancient doom. I set the course for Rykad on the demand. Theodora grimaces. She gives you a stern look, then shrugs. Well, for very specific reason, let's say. Perhaps I shall yet apprise you of the purpose of this voyage, but now is not that time. So, what exactly are my current responsibilities, gracious Lord Captain? Observe and learn. Absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Edelthrad. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide. Oh, is that a euphemism? Gracious Lord Captain, surely there are ways I can prove myself a worthy heir. You can start by not asking questions of this sort. I have no need for sycophants. I will draw my conclusions when an opportunity to prove yourself arises. As for when you will be granted that opportunity, only the God Emperor knows. Alright, I have no more questions. In that case, I shall head to... Theodora's vox awakens once more. This time you pick up shouting. The Lord Captain freezes, listening to the voxcast, then nods and draws her weapon. Disturbances reported on the adjacent decks. Seneschal, if the need arises, protect the new blood. She glances at you. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated. Attackers! Protect the Lord Captain.
I'll make an example out of you.
Cross them!
Oops, I had the mouse pointer at the edge of the screen, so it just kept scrolling. Well, we are fighting a battle. There's me, Darius. There's a ton of enemies, like a ton of enemies. I get the feeling that I'm not meant to defeat these enemies, and instead what I'm meant to do is run away, or be captured or killed. All combatants act in turns, and their order is determined by an initiative roll. The order of turns is displayed on the left side of the screen from bottom to top. The character at the very bottom goes first, then the one above them, and so on. Ah, I see. So Abelard is going first. Or Theodora is going first? Let's get the combat log going here. Oh, deck enforcers are dying. Darius has applied a surefire plan effect. To what? What did I do? Is that applied to myself? I guess that's a passive effect. Oh, I now see there are some buttons over here on the side. Boy, I really would like to make this bigger. I mean, not just bigger, but wider, maybe. Okay, well, I'll just make it tall. Okay, let's start the battle. Theodora, kill them! And then she runs away. Abelard charges forward, slashes and obliterates two enemies with a cleave, and then charges at another one and obliterates another one. Mort just flamethrowered a bunch of enemies. Abelard takes a hit.
How'd you like this?
Brace yourself, Abelard.
Abelard takes another hit. Use cover to avoid enemy attacks. Cover that a character can hide behind is marked with a shield or shield with a skull. When standing close to them, the character will automatically take up an advantageous position. In this case, the chance that enemy attacks will hit the cover and not the character behind them increases. The character will not receive a bonus if attacked from a side not protected by their current cover. So Darius has got to find cover. I think we're going to take cover next to Theodora. Theodora has 205 hit points. It is what it... Wait. So... Okay, so we have enemies to our right. in front and kind of to the left too, so I feel like I guess I'm gonna take cover right here next to Theodora. And then I'm going to what? Shoot somebody? I guess I'll shoot the one that's closest. These are heretic cutthroats that are attacking us, incidentally. Heretics! Kill the heretics!
Your end was inevitable.
Oh. I performed 500 critical hits already. Wow, I got an achievement for performing 500 critical hits. That doesn't seem right. Your character has just landed a critical hit that deals increased damage equal to the character's critical damage stat. Critical damage is 150%. Each weapon has its own critical damage stat. Cool. I dealt 13 piercing damage to that heretic cutthroat, and he deserved every point of that piercing damage. For being a heretic, I presume. Analyze enemy. What does this actually do? The operative targets one enemy within 10 cells. That target immediately gains +2 exploits. Okay. I guess that's just like a buff of some sort.
Who if not me?
So I will analyze that enemy and give them exploits. Take those exploits, you heretic cutthroat. And I think we're done now. I'm ending my turn. The heretic cutthroat shoots at Mort but misses. Another one shoots at somebody but misses. That one shots. Oh, they're shooting at Abelard. A heretic brawler hits Abelard in the back. Somebody just shot at me but missed. Oh, somebody shot at me but hit. Ah, they just got vaporized. Be careful, your companions can get hurt by your burst shots or area attacks. To avoid friendly fire, keep an eye on trajectory. Abelard is cutting down enemies like crazy. Mort is flamethrowering enemies like crazy. It's now my turn again. I'm gonna shoot at the heretic cutthroat that I exploited. Wait, positive effects. Your character has received a temporary positive effect from an ally. Such effects enhance your character's capabilities in combat in some way. To learn more about the effect you have gained, hover your cursor over the effects icon next to the character's portrait. Kill them! I have a +50 ballistic skill until the end of combat. From Theodora. Thanks, Theodora. I will kill them. I will shoot my pistol at this heretic cutthroat that I exploited earlier.
Another enemy down.
11 points of damage and he's dead. We'll get them, Theodora, don't worry. You have way more hit points and capabilities than I am, but don't worry, I will protect you. I'm gonna do another analyze enemy on this heretic brawler over here who looks like he's approaching. He has now been exploited. Cutthroats are shooting, but that was a miss. The brawler runs up and hits Abelard. Does minimal damage. Theodora obliterates the brawler that I exploited. Abelard cleaves another one down. I think we've won. Theodora waves her hand in a commanding gesture. Mort, take that team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single whoreson survive. Heretics. Hate him. The rogue trader turns her eyes to you, Theodora, the rogue trader. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck, Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel. Warp, the immaterium, the imperium, the ether, the sea of souls, or warp space. She looks at the Vox in her hand. All you can hear is lifeless static. Alright, Lord Captain, what are your orders? She breaks eye contact with you. Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the arch-militant requires aid. And be quick about it. Oh, I didn't get a chance to ask what was happening. You know, I'm always torn between do I make role-playing choices with the dialogue options, or do I just go in sequential order with the dialogue options? It's, you know, it's never really clear what I should do. And it's never clear which option is going to end the dialogue and which is going to continue the dialogue. I wish games were more clear about that. Quest updated by right of blood. The officer's deck is under attack by an unknown enemy, so Arch-Militant Mort has left to clear the way to the lift leading to the upper decks. The officer has not returned yet, so it is time to find out the cause of the delay. We shall find that cause next time, as this is a good place to take a break. Report from the Engineers. Request for cargo transfer. There, I see an alert about loss of communication with decks 8 and 12, says Abelard. Abelard, check the latest communication reports for the upper decks. I see an alert about a loss of communication with decks 8 and 12. I'm concerned about the disrupted communication with the Navigator's Sanctum. We should have already approached the translation point and proceeded to the real space. Once we are done with the riot, I want to have a look at the Logisticar's reports. We need to understand what happened on the decks during the warp jump and the preparations preceding it. All of this dialogue is happening while Darius stands and looks on. I'm concerned about the disrupted communication with the Navigator's Sanctum, says Abelard. We should have already approached the translation point and proceeded to real space. Oh, he said that already. Okay, they're just on a loop now, repeating things over and over. Alright, I'm going to take a break here.